Shut your up. Don't say it.
Attack left lane.
Hold up.
No.
Oh my god, who said that?
Attack the Gold Fury.
That was almost really hard to say, actually.
Group up.
The look on his face when he walks, he's got like the fear of God in him.
Oh, you fuzzy wuzzy. Let's not hurt them too bad. Let's make them scream!
I'm sorry. I don't know why I did it.
Split push.
Howdy, folks. Dirtnap's Dad here. Welcome to episode 41 of the Split Push podcast. It's a Smite podcast here from us console plebs that are stuck over here on the island, not attached to the main continent that's forming. But hey, Sony, get on the ball.
Oh, PlayStation Island all by
Keep
ourselves.
trying, Dad.
Yeah, hey, I'm still tweeting at those buggers. Every
That should
day,
be our
every
next,
couple days.
our
at
next
least.
event where we get a bunch of free shit because Sony won't let us have crossplay, so Smite feels bad for us.
Oh, okay. Anyway, these plebs here with me today on that funny note is my good buddy Guy.
What's up, everybody?
See, I like leading off with him now because he brings a little bit of that level of enthusiasm. Gets Beagle all perked up, doesn't it, Beagle Girl?
Hi.
What?
I don't know. I just kind of said something.
I like it.
Episode 41. She's got nailed down now. And
Hey, I mean, I could have just said,
so
What up?
then you got Dirtnap Dan.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
And dude, I bought a thesaurus to help me with my intros to help describe our guests, but when I opened it up, all the pages were blank. I have no words to describe my anger now. So,
Oh boy.
but just how awesome is it to have? You just heard him. From Hi-Res into Titan Forge itself, it is the one and the only Clumzy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Oh, I like that little Fonzie-esque to the A there.
Hey.
Hey,
All
what's
right.
going
Eh. And there the jukebox turned on. What the hell?
on?
Oh, well, hey, Clumzy, welcome to the show. Super excited to have you on. I mean, whenever we get an employee on, I mean, that to me is always a big thing because you all are part and part creators of the game that I obviously and thoroughly love. So,
Well, no, not at all. Thank you guys all for having me.
Yeah. So, we usually like to throw it out to our guests right away here to kind of allow you to further introduce yourself a little bit more,
Mhm.
Tell us about who you are, where you came from, why
Oh,
Smite, and, who your favorite uncle is.
All right. Well, I don't want to name my favorite uncle right immediately on the air because I'm pretty sure he's going to be listening, and all my uncles will be, so I don't want to just single one out there. So I love all you guys equally. But yeah, my name is TitanClumzy. I also go by Clumsy Death online. And, well, I was just a player not too long ago, and back in college, I used to play all sorts of different games, and I picked up Smite, played with a couple of friends, went on the Reddit looking for more for Smite to find some like-minded individuals who might want to try on the competitive scene, started grinding my way up through ranked, playing on weekend tournaments, eventually joined a semi-competitive team called Resist Gaming. I think Skilladon was on the team at the time, so there's some other names on there. And, well, I was really interested in the game, started talking and playing with some of the current employees, like I think Adonis and Pecky's at the time as well. Brad from the production studio. Eventually I got hired after one of the HRXs. And from there, I was in the production studio for a little while, working with them. I was actually the cameraman in-game for the SPL for, I think, half a year or so. Transitioned from there to QA, was in QA for about a year and a half as well for Smite. And then moved on to Adventures. I started working officially as a designer on the first year of Adventures after Jing Chan's Mountain and Fafnir's Wonderland. Did the full year of Adventures, worked on the CTF, Valley of Victory, the Dungeons, Shadows of Hercopolis, the Mind Corrupted Arena, and then after the first year of Adventures, moved on to the Smite core team as a designer. I worked on Chernobog, Pele, and now currently Merlin, and I'll be working on Jormungandr as well.
Oh, shit. Jormungandr. Yeah. I'm excited for Merlin, personally.
Oh, me too. I can see all of your guys' names almost have, well, at least two of us here have a little bit of Merlin flavor.
Yeah.
guy are gonna be fighting.
It's going to be a
over him.
fight. Like, I'm pretty much going to get on a plane ticket and go up there and beat him.
Stop auto-picking him.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people auto-picking King Arthur and Merlin for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks he's going to play him in his normal mid-roll, but I'm going to jungle.
Yeah, he's got a lot of spells. He's probably pretty good in the jungle, but
I'm telling them both, you're both going to cry when I auto-lock him in and run him support.
yeah, why not? I mean, I think that's definitely
Just
the
to
flavor.
make them cry, too.
Nah, I enjoy where a lot of the gods right now can be picked in different roles.
Yeah, I actually do. I've played quite a few different ones in support that, you know, I'm just like, you know, they got some stuff in their kit, and if I build them supporty and then throw a mask in to help that off mid-game when damages are starting to really go, I got away with a Kernanos support, you know, Baron support all the time. That's actually not that hard. I like that. But, you know, yeah, you can throw all kinds of people over there with, you know, that have some peel or some sort of interruptions in their kit.
Absolutely, with the right blessing and the right item builds, anyone can be whatever you want it to be in the battlefield of the gods.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I'm happy that you guys have that option. I've always liked the more wonky things that work because I make it work because it's who I am, and I've always been a little wonkier in my combat styles. You know, I mean,
Everything
I
except for
learned that in WoW.
Right.
Everything except Loki solo now. Quit making that work.
Well, after the recent nerfs, I'm sure he's gonna, you know, not be played as much. Possibly.
Hopefully.
Well, the mains who love playing Loki are still gonna be playing Loki. He's actually one of our most popular gods, so.
No doubt.
I know.
Hurts me a little bit.
He's so good, really. He's just so good. A good Loki will just destroy you all day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. I can destroy one person and then get out of dodge. Yeah. And that's what he does. It doesn't matter where you're at. You could be under tower, under the backside of tower. Don't matter. You're dead. He's gone. But hey, he gets caught up. That, you know, then you got to be really good as him to get out of dodge at those times. But, you know, he's a good god killer. I mean, I don't even get mad anymore. It's just like, oh, Loki'd. I'll be back.
It happens. He can die pretty fast when he's caught out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I see a Loki, I just build to counter Loki. No matter whoever else is in the game, I'm just building straight to counter Loki. And that's it.
Pick up that Mantle of Discord, Celestial Legion Helm, you know.
Right.
Once he's out of the game, he's not really doing anything else.
That's right. Hindu taught me the ways of the Celestial Helm there. I've been using it ever since he was on.
Yeah, I've actually used that a lot more and more myself. Hey, Dan.
What's up?
What are you doing?
Just hanging out, having fun. How about you?
Oh, okay.
You're so quiet.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I haven't heard Dan talk since.
Join the
talking
conversation,
about?
Beagle, Dan. Jeez.
Excuse you.
Wow, calling them both out.
Yeah, well, at least I'm here. Yugi.
Hey, it's not his fault.
I just talked about how I was stealing Merlin from you.
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I zoned that part out.
Yeah, Guy and I both repressed that memory already.
Wow.
Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, hey, Clumsy, how you doing, man? Let's get back to chit chatting here. Someone,
it's
interested
been,
in talking to us. You know?
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
You know, all right. I'm just gonna stay quiet this episode. You know?
No.
Hey, it's like every other episode.
I was gonna say, but she actually stays quiet.
I'll stop trying then, and then we'll see the real difference.
I can tell the esports banter has definitely been here.
Oh, shit. Oh, no, our best banter, dude, we talk about a lot of times when we were watching the Worlds this last time, Clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
Dan was upstairs watching it while Beagle and I were downstairs. So at one point we realized that we're cheering, but he's cheering like 10, 15 seconds later.
Oh, yeah.
So at one point I'm like, hey, let's just start cheering for nothing. And it'll throw him off.
Nice. That's a good one.
The only problem was like we cheered
Kinda
when
backfired.
absolutely nothing was happening. And then like 3 seconds later, they turn a corner, take a tower. And then he's
backfired
like,
a little bit, yeah.
cheering for that tower? Never mind. Just never mind. But anyway,
That's awkward.
Getting off a story that we've probably kicked down to the ground here a few times and rolled it around, but getting back to Smite, and dude, I don't know. I'm just.
Are you sure you don't want to tell that story just one more time?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Maybe next week.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Clumsy, what are you excited about season 6 here, man? I'm just so tired of waiting for it.
Yeah, I know. It feels
So
like
close.
it's been forever, but it's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks. In fact, a couple of months. Season 6 coming out, Merlin at the same time, King Arthur just before that. Obviously, right before that was HRX. I can't wait for season 6 to come out, and right after that is going to be Jormungandr 2, and the fully fledged getting into season 6. There's a lot of really cool things in plan. I'm pretty excited, honestly. I'm a little bit biased, right? I'm excited for Merlin to come out. He's coming out at the same time as 6.1. I was the guide designer on that, and so I've got a little bit of bias there. But there's a lot of cool things as well that's happening in the rest of the Conquest map, too.
Oh, yeah? So, any little secrets or tips you can give us about Merlin?
Well, there's definitely a lot of things to be learned while playing Merlin. I think, don't force the need to stand switch when you aren't comfortable with it yet. Find kind of the right playstyle which is for you. Fire, for example, is going to be the close range with the largest damage, but that doesn't mean you need to switch to that at every point when someone's jumping on top of you. But it might be good to flex into it whenever you get the chance, or try out Arcane when you want a little bit of CC, a little bit of utility, and some good range. Frost obviously has the longest poke, and pretty much the highest CC, and don't be too reliant on your flicker ability, because while it is an instantaneous teleport, it's not a very long range, it's got a high cooldown. So just being aware of all of your limitations. It's funny because Merlin's got a very mobile ability, but he's actually a pretty immobile mage outside of that.
Yeah, true. I mean, there is quite a significant cooldown on the flicker, and, I mean, it's just like, what? That's even longer than Izanami's, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's around 30-35 units, which is like, and a basic attack is 55, so it's quite a bit less. You can't really go over any walls except for, I think, in Arena. And it's really just there for juking almost.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great tool for the kit, and if anything, it'll make a great way to start off the battle when you think Merlin's over there, but now he's up in your face.
Right, so exactly.
You just never know with it, but, hey, if you're going to do that, it's go big or go home, by the way, because you just used your exit strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, jump in front of them and use the explosion and the point-blank nature of his ultimate elemental mastery, and then just really go for some hard-hitting damage.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I like to play aggressively. I don't know. Funny that I'm the support in the team most of the time, but my playstyle is generally I like to play aggressively. And Smite's really taught me that I need to be more passive with my play, a little bit more patient, I should say. So I do think that actually makes a lot better, because I'm still, I played WoW for so many years that,
right, yeah.
It was aggress, and here it's like, if you do that, you got to be really, really, really good and still know when to get out and slow down and all that.
Yeah, positioning is definitely a huge factor in Smite. Even with your aggressive tanks like Ymir, you definitely want to get in their faces, but you got to know when to back off.
Yeah.
That's the thing that sucks at. I mean, what?
Ooh.
Wow. It's not that I suck
You
at
know it.
It's that my brain knows it. I know what to do. It's just, my
you don't
synapses
do it.
are old, so it takes a little longer to get down to the fingers. And
Quit using the old excuse already.
it's all I got anymore. It's all I got.
I mean, part of the fun is just getting in front of their faces and smacking on them. Like, I think of Ymir a lot in that case, right? We're just destroying them with your big icy club, using your abilities. And I mean, why back off when you can just use your ultimate and then probably take someone with you if you're going to go down?
I know Beagle's a huge fan of the club.
Oh, you read my
on.
mind. That's what I was about to say.
She's a
hate
huge
you
fan of the club.
Yeah, I kind of remember this too, for
Shut up, Dan.
some reason.
Shut up, Dan. Shut your
What-
face. Shut your up.
Why is Beagle such a fan of that? Oh,
Shut your up.
wait,
Don't
that's
say it.
right. She stole my pentakill.
Shut your up!
Oh,
No! No!
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
It would have been my
It-
first
it-
pentakill on PC,
It was an
and
accident!
she Emir clubbed it.
You know what? I have no good explanation for this.
I can just see it now. Ymir is here at club.
I'm literally like 10 feet
You're against
away.
my will.
10 feet away. And she just... Emir Club. It was the most depressing moment of my Smite lifetime.
Well,
Dude, he got so mad though. He like jumped up and he's like, "What the?" He just started screaming and cursing. I'm just like, "I'm sorry. I don't know why I did it."
It was all in good fun. But, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Why did you do that?
I'm surprised nobody even said this part, but I was even saying, "Let Dan have it! Let Dan have it! Let Dan have it! Nobody kill him!"
and
And
thunk.
I pressed the mouse button, alright? And it just kind of happened. When you see someone that low, my first thought is to kill it!
Kill secure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it was.
Speedo
Not like
loves
Dan
a good
Danny
bit
to
of
work
kill
anyway.
secure, especially when it's the fifth of a penta.
Just have to permanently play Ganesha, you know?
Well, in my defense, I've never gotten a penta, so I just wanted to make you get the feeling.
Wow. Well, I have 7. So.
I still haven't gotten mine. I know.
So our new cone of shame is the person you have to play Ganesha now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Ganesh lately, and me and Elephant Boy, we getting on good terms.
Yeah, he's
Definitely
tons of
getting
fun.
on. You can build him like defense out the wazoo. He still hits like a truck.
Especially with that ultimate, if you're going to CC them on one of those barriers, you can definitely just 1v1 someone and take them out.
Dude, we were playing against, it was a really good team, and it was a really back and forth match. But in the end, we were getting objectives, and they were a little behind on that. But they had an afro, and that was making life a little difficult. But the fight started, and I immediately got her cornered against the wall, my pillar, and 2 lines of the ult to go anywhere safe. That was the safest way out.
Yeah.
And we deleted her so fast. She didn't even have time to hit her ult. She was just 100 to 0. And it was just like,
Oh, boy.
and that's kind of when, we ran away with the game at that point. Like, all right, that was the moment, when you're having a tough time, but then, there it is.
It's kind of like Baron, so you can drag him across the lines.
Yeah, that's actually
true.
why I started playing Ganesh, because he was playing Baron. I'm like, who's good with that? Ganesh. Mm-hmm. Oh, you just want to stand in the middle of my ult. Meet my friend Baron. Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, Baron's pretty good for that, for sure.
Yeah, we've had some good ones with that one, too. Then, you throw in the Hades into that mix, and then you can really have some fun.
No. Just all the big AoEs.
Don't say his name out loud.
I'll wait till Merlin comes out. You can throw that void out there and suck them in through it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right. Can we talk more about Merlin before we go on? Because
Oh, yeah? Just even more? Okay.
I like.
Is that the top of conversation?
I'm excited to have Clumsy on the show, and I'm excited Merlin's coming out. And yeah, you Merlin, give us what's the scoops? What play style do you like with him?
Well, man, designing Merlin was very interesting because I've enjoyed every single one of his abilities. There weren't really many that we wanted to rework too much. I think, his Dragonfire fire ability too was a little bit different at first implementation, but then we got something that I think was a lot more interesting. And I actually don't really have a favorite stance or a least favorite stance. It has changed. Arcane is tons of fun because it's going to have that mid-range poking utility at all times, but getting an assassin on top of you and switching to fire and then just watching them melt is just so enjoyable too. And then you've got the long-range Broke of Frost. I mean, it just Frost Balls have such a short cooldown with such high damage potential. Each one is kind of just their own. That's why I like saying it, that Merlin isn't really a stance switcher. He's kind of 3 different mages played in one.
How hard is it to design that, put all those abilities in one god?
I think designing them specifically wasn't too hard. Each ability kind of, went the way that I wanted it to. Having it all holistically on paper and thinking about how it's all going to fit was kind of the challenge. Once it started going, once we got the stance switching working, it wasn't actually too bad. I think pretty much all of the abilities except the Fire 2 are exactly the same as they were first brainstormed, which is not always the case. You know, with Pele, with Chernobog, there were definitely abilities, and with all the gods that we designed for the most part on the entire design team, because we all work on them together, right? There's only one person that just takes the lead. They all have iterations that you may work on, but Merlin, I think there was only one of the abilities that was changed. The rest of them just had slight tweaks to just make them more interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I had tons of fun designing Merlin. I definitely, you know, had influences from other games. I wanted players to pick up Merlin and then kind of feel like you're playing, you know, a fantasy or an RPG mage from other games. And people have, you know, said, hey, you know, when I'm playing in Arcane Stance, I definitely feel like I'm playing from this other game. Or when I'm playing in Fire Stance, I'm just melting people like a Pyromancer. That's good. That's exactly what I wanted to go for. That's why I wanted his movement ability to be this fast-paced flicker or this blink. In fact, one of the reasons we just didn't want to call it blink straight out is because of the blink rune relic that exists. We didn't want to just use that exact same name because that might be confusing for players, might be, you know, frustrating for casters as well. But, you know, that's such a typical movement ability for a mage, both in, like, just fantasy lore from stories, from TV shows and movies, as well as from other games, that I knew that's what I wanted his mage movement ability to be. I knew that when he's in Ice Dance, I expected to see a Frostbolt, you know, not just from as a designer, but from a player. He's a Frost Mage. Why would he not conjure a Frostbolt? Why would he not conjure a Blizzard? That's exactly what you would expect, and that's not a problem. It's not a design limitation. That was definitely a goal.
Yeah,
That's
oh, go ahead,
Go
Dan.
ahead. No, go ahead.
He's got that real D&D-esque feel to him.
Right, exactly.
And that's why I think I you know, I'm throwing my hat in the ring. I'll be jumping on this train pretty early as far as playing him.
Yeah.
Wow, what? No, he's mine.
Wow, I feel like we're deja vu.
What?
Here we go
Hi.
again.
First
So,
come, first serve, buddy. We'll see.
How excited were you when you found out you were going to be designing Merlin?
Actually, so that was interesting. We knew we were going to be doing King Arthur and Merlin together towards the same time period. And there was, a little bit of I wouldn't say a struggle at all, because there's pretty much a request. If we go back down the god pipeline, before King Arthur was Hera, and before Hera was Pele. So I worked on Pele, and Pon in the rotation, because we like going back to back. Currently there's 2 lead god designers, but of course AJ is working with us all the time, as the lead designer of Smite. So I was working on Pele, he was working on Hera, and we knew that King Arthur and Merlin were coming up. Naturally, that kind of meant that I would be working on King Arthur. But as a mage main, and as someone who has really wanted to make an intricate mage in Smite for a while, because I've always been involved in Smite even when I was in QA, I really wanted to, you know, take my attempts at Merlin at this master wizard. So I asked AJ, I asked Pon if they're okay with us changing up the order of designers a little bit, and luckily they were totally on board. Pon didn't have any specific affiliation with Merlin. In fact, I think he actually wanted to work on King Arthur, so it kind of worked perfectly there, which is why I was able to skip and do Merlin afterwards, while Pon did 2 back-to-back. And in fact, that's why I'm working on Merlin and Jormungandr back-to-back, is so that we kind of reset the cycle slightly.
Gotcha.
So I was definitely very excited to work. So long story short, I was very excited to work on Merlin. As soon as I heard that he was coming up, I really wanted to jump at that.
That's awesome, man. Just being able to live out the things that are in your mind and to bring them to a game like this. Just
yeah, I mean, being a game designer was not something that I thought I would be able to accomplish when I was young. In fact, I came from a very traditional Asian family where, you know, games wasn't seen as something productive. My mother always said that, you know, if I ever worked in the gaming industry, she would disown me or something of the sort. But luckily, my father was very supportive, and my mother learned to understand that I'm doing what I enjoy, and that's what's important. And you know, before I was working in game design, I did my college degree at in computer science and a minor in business. In fact, I did my first year in England because I used to live in England for a little while. So I think back there it's information technology, and I didn't know where I was going to go. I was just a gamer by hobby, right? I just enjoy playing games. I didn't expect to see myself in the gaming field, although that's definitely what I wanted to do. Like I said, at the time, I was playing competitive Smite. I was coaching for different teams. I think I was on with the Fat Chunks for a little while, Aurora, Cyclone Spin. That was a great time. Seeing them Splice win, going on a slight tangent, was just phenomenal, because I was with them at some point in time, and it just made me super proud. But then moving to the design fields was just awesome. It was definitely a dream come true. And while we haven't talked about it too much, I had a phenomenal time working on adventures because I actually came from a background of MMOs as well. I played way too much WoW, without a doubt. Just from pretty much the end of Vanilla, I wasn't really there at the beginning of Vanilla. So even, this latest expansion, I gave my hand at it, and I had my own issues with it, so I haven't seen it through. But being able to work on the RPGs, for example, being able to design those bosses and those gameplay traps and environments was just so much fun. But that was really creating its own almost mini games within Smite, and then being able to work on gods after that and have people play these creations that I've made or have thought of is just amazing.
So what's your favorite, creating gods or creating adventures?
It's completely two different beasts. Working on the adventures was awesome. Chris Larson and Travis Brown managed to take me out of QA and pick me up there because they knew how interested I was in design. They put their faith in me to work with them. And I think what was our first one was Valley of Victory, CTF. That was our first attempt at trying something different within Smite. I think that came out pretty well. It was received very, very well, I think, as well, because no one expected a CTF mode in Smite. No one expected for us to try these different game modes. And then what did we pull right after that? Okay, I know there's going to be a lot of different reactions here, but the racer, Apollo's Rumble Racer, right? I think... Okay, so I'm going to get a lot of flack for this probably, but I think it was absolutely amazing. I love what it did inside Smite. I definitely think it had some core issues that we probably wish we could have fixed, like the physics and the collision between colliding with other cars and the walls. Obviously, that was seen as the major drawback, which it was, but I was watching some footage of it recently, and having a racer inside your Battleground of the Gods is just absurd and amazing. And then going right from there into the dungeons, which were these tremendous experiences, that was just phenomenal. I think working on the dungeons were by far my favorite experience in adventures.
It'd be nice to see the racer come back with the bugs worked out.
One of the reasons why we weren't able to fix those bugs that were inherent to the the gameplay negatives for the players were just because Smite's an old engine, UE3, and it wasn't designed from the ground up to be a racer. Forcing that kind of physics and collision model inside our current working game is just... I'm sure it's possible it could be done, or it's possible it could be smoothed out, but it would take longer than the 2-month dev cycles that we were working on those adventures. The racer was only created in 2 months. The adventures were only created in pretty much 1 to 2 months. It was a very short turnaround.
I'd like to see Capture the Flag come back, maybe a little bigger map.
Mm-hmm.
Like Warsong Gulch or something. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We were definitely very ambitious. And I think that was a good thing.
All right, let's not mention Warsong Gulch anymore because that immediately brought back a lot of fond memories, and this is a Smite podcast, not a WoW
Warsong
one.
Gulch, or even Valhalla and the Gulch in Halo. Those were all inspirations for sure.
Oh, okay. Smite, yes. I had good times back in WoW, good times. So, anyway, Beagle, why don't you start asking some of the guest questions here?
Why don't you make me?
Isn't that what I just did? I'm kind of confused here. I just think I just did that.
Alright. Let me make sure this is the top. Yes, it is. Alright. First is from Cowboy Caution.
No, the first one's actually from the Mighty Jimmy. It's underneath my announcement there. He put it in the wrong spot, and I moved it to over here.
Yeah, because Guy... Wait. Let's defend the Mighty Jimmy here. Who was it that posted in the wrong spot, Guy?
It might have been me.
Ooh,
but it clearly said post and guest questions, and it took like 10 seconds for somebody to post in general chat.
Busted.
Okay, wait. What?
Oh, I think he was just recommending some skins.
Yeah.
Oh. Lady Rah-Rah? I mean, we need a Lady Rah-Rah skin.
A Lady Rah-Rah? Oh my gosh. We have the Aphrodite skin. That's pretty good.
But, Ra, I'm sure you guys come, gaga that up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. He also wants Raw Sputin, Okay.
Oh my gosh, the pun skins.
Yes, the pun skins. And a Scorpion Ares. Okay, well, that's not a pun.
Yeah, we've tried that before.
Yeah, we had an Eliminator Ravana skin that, was a little bit close to territories that we probably shouldn't have been too close to. So we've obviously got to be careful with, copyright infringement and treading too close to other IPs.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Dan.
I noticed.
Some
I was
babies.
one of those faithful people that bought that skin.
Oh no.
Didn't even
Sorry,
get to
I got
play
something
it.
pretty cool out of it anyway. Yeah, I never got to play it either. I bought it when I went to bed because I had to earn the gems that day.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
I woke up and it was gone.
No, I'm sorry, but that
Oh.
happens. It's happened a few times, and we still have some pretty sick Robina skins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Broly.
On the next one, Beagle.
Alright, this one is from Cowboy Customs. Am I on the right one?
Yes.
Which god
Cowboy
was-
Customs.
Which god was your favorite to work on?
Oh man, I definitely love each of the gods that I've worked on, for different reasons. Chernobog was the first god that I got to work on, so I definitely have some special love for him. Pele was a god that I worked on that I had kind of understood how the god worked, the design process worked a little bit, so I was a little bit more comfortable, and I think that really showed in the way she flowed and she felt. But again, I wanted to work on Merlin. I got the chance to finally work on a mage, which is my main role. I'm definitely slightly biased towards mages, but that doesn't mean it comes through in balance or anything. Don't worry about that. I definitely, it has to be Merlin. Merlin was by far my favorite god to work on.
See, I see a trend here. All the gods you work on are like really strong.
Yeah, is that the case?
Yeah, I'm just sitting here starting to think. Wait a second. I have him saying for Pele, and I'm like, and I know Merlin's gonna hurt my ass too.
So that's a funny story. So Chernobog came out, and he was statistically and seen as underpowered. So during the PTS cycle, we got a lot of feedback from the pros as well, because we utilize a pro Discord to communicate with them daily. And they were just like, he's not going to be played unless he has a little bit more clear, because he just it's impossible to clear with his abilities right now. And we gave him a little bit more clear, and on release of the god, he was seen as just too powerful, mostly because of his early ease at the beginning of the game in the duo lane. So it took us a little while to, make sure that feedback was received and assessed by all the players, and then we had to tone him down a little bit. But he's actually in a pretty healthy spot. He was released slightly strong because of PTS feedback, and then he was brought back down slowly. A lot of people, were worried about the stims he would get in his ultimate, and we toned back that as well. I think a lot of that was actually just aesthetics that I wanted to just throw in there because I thought it would feel really cool to activate your passive on every hit. But obviously that, that's going to bring some gameplay considerations too, so I didn't mind toning that and taking it away. Pele, the problem with her, and I think the problem that, we're always going to see with assassins, is that if they're ever in a slightly balanced spot or a little bit overpowered, they're probably going to be seen as very overpowered because they're going to be in a, assassins by nature are very pub stompy. So they're going to do well, especially ones like Pele, where her trajectory is really the early to mid game, right? If you get a Pele to late game, she may one-shot someone like a Loki, but she's probably not going to carry the game in the late game if everyone gets to level, 18 to 20 and you're 25 minutes in. She's not going to be really the powerhouse she is early to mid game. So she's an early game pub stomper for the most part is what I would call her. So that there's a lot of feedback, that she's disruptive, and the player perception is that she's, very strong, and she's definitely strong, but statistically she's in an actually very balanced spot.
All I'm saying is ban her in your ranked Gauss games, or you're not going to have fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, she definitely hurts. That's for sure. We're definitely, I mean, we've nerfed her, the last few patches back to back to make sure. But one of the main things that I like to, bring up is she was out for Worlds. She actually only got played, I think, twice. I think her win rate at Worlds was either 50% or lower, and her pick rate was extremely low. So I think she's definitely more of a casual god, like the casual player god. And she really excels there when people don't know how to react to her. But once you get into a competitive setting and high rank, because we like to assess all points of balance, right? We look at arena, we look at other game modes, we look at casual conquest, and we look at competitive conquest. And we like to target our balance according to the strong suits of each mode. And finally, Merlin. Oh gosh, I have no idea how he's gonna be perceived. I either have the prediction that he's gonna be. Okay, so I'm gonna have to bring it up here because one of my all-time favorite gods is Janus, and he has the exact same perception that I believe Merlin will have. But I'm gonna preface all of this by saying, can you guess how strong Janus is statistically?
I'm gonna guess he's pretty strong about. I don't know.
I would say Janus is. Wow, this is like a tougher question now.
I think he dishes it out. There's there's a few mages that's like, all right, they got their burst, but there's mages that like it doesn't matter. I got kitted. And he's one of those guys that can do that.
So since his release, so again, he's my favorite god, so I'm a little bit biased, but this is pure facts. These are the numbers. Since his release, he's been statistically one of the worst 3 gods in the game, in all game modes.
Damn.
He's hovering around 40 to 45% win rate right now. He has never done well statistically, but he's always perceived as one of the gods that does the most. Because when you get one shot by a Janus snipe, when you get portaled into an unstable vortex combo, you remember those times, right? That's one of the reasons why it's actually
that's what I was just talking about.
Right, that's what you remember. But when a Janus is on your team and doesn't do so well, that doesn't really phase your memory. Or when the Janus is on the other team and you're beating him up, you don't really remember the fact that it was a Janus. But when he hits you across the map with a snipe that kills you, you remember that's the guy and that's the god that everyone wants to see nerfed, right? So a part of that, I believe, transcends to all mages, where mages are almost never seen to be weak unless they're just not popular. But that doesn't mean that they're not statistically doing well. But they're almost always going to be perceived to be overpowered. And I believe the same thing will probably happen with Merlin, that's there for Janus currently, where he's extremely, he's got a very high skill cap. I think we can all agree that he's going to be hard to utilize to his highest potential. And because of that, just like we know with King Arthur currently, is that might mean he's statistically lower. He might actually underperform, even though he does a lot of damage. But at the same time, while he's underperforming, I still think he's going to be perceived as incredibly overpowered. Because people will remember the times when they got flickered onto with a massive explosion and then burned to death with fire, or getting hit by those frost bolts from across the map. Yeah, and getting pinged to death with Arcane. So I believe he might be statistically underpowered, but perceived as extremely overpowered. Or I'm kind of hoping to be wrong, and I don't mind if he is actually just overpowered slightly, and perceived that way, because it's so much easier to balance a god when the players are on the same level as the statistics.
Interesting.
So if he is overpowered by a little bit, and people perceive him as slightly overpowered, that's a good thing. Same thing with King Arthur, right? That actually worked out really well. He's statistically underpowered. He's actually at the same realm as Janus right now, but people know that he's extremely hard to play. They know that bad King Arthur players aren't going to do well, but good King Arthur players will have a good time. So the perception and the reality are in a very good spot there, because if we do a small buff to King Arthur, people will be like, okay, he probably needs a small buff. That's okay.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot better King Arthur players lately, and a lot less bad ones.
I mean, it definitely takes some getting used to, right? There's a very obvious learning curve. In fact, we did an assessment. AJ had a look at our statistics for King Arthur to make sure we weren't going to overbuff him, or we had to be careful. So when he first came out, until I think a couple of weeks later, there was a 5% increase in his win rate as people learned to play him, which is very large for a god's release.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I like seeing those stats. We always have to be wary of what the statistics say, but of course, this is always the gut feeling, the perception of the players, and we take both of those things into account. So I'm very interested to see Merlin's release in not even a week away. Today, today's a Wednesday, and he's coming out, very soon. The start of the next week.
The 11th, we hope.
Yep, 11th is the current date for 6-1, and I don't know, man, I'm super excited, because as much as people have played him on the PTS, exponentially more are going to be playing him in live.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be 5-man teams fighting over him.
Yeah, good luck.
Everybody's slamming that lock-in button as quick as they can as we're locked in.
Right. And I'm doing it just out of spite.
Oh, my God.
That's great. Like, fuck you guys.
Do we know if it's coming out the same day for console and PC?
I believe that was one of the main goals for the new patch cycle, is to get them out on the same day. Unfortunately, and if we do some more questions, I know we kind of paused on a tangent there. I'm not the most involved on the systems of things, mostly the gameplay and god design. But if it's not the same day, it's going to be either the day after, and I believe we want to get them as close together as possible, if not already.
I mean, once you go cross-platform, you almost have to put them out the same day, right?
Right, which is why I believe that it is the same day.
Yeah.
Because I believe cross-platform is meant to be coming out at 6-1.
All right. Well, speaking of those questions, Beagle, where are you at? Why aren't you asking any more questions here?
You guys are just talking, so. Alright, next one is from Ring Wraith Reborn. What do you think is the best ability in terms of synergy effects or animation that is currently in Smite?
Oh my gosh, that's loaded. There's so many abilities that feel so good to use and sound good. I think having the animations play well, having the sound effects and the visual effects all play well, as well as obviously the design of the ability is incredibly important for every single god. I mean, there's one that immediately comes to mind, but I wouldn't say it's the best one. Again, I'm biased in a way for the gods that I've worked on, especially because I've spent so much attention on each one of them. That's why they come to mind first. But one that I actually think was one of my favorites recently, at least, is Pele's ultimate, Volcanic Lightning. I was extremely happy with the way she rises into the air and does holds her daggers out in front of her and does a twirl, and the way the effects of purple and red swirl behind her as well, and then the massive crash of thunder and lightning that you hear when you connect with an enemy. I think that's very, very satisfying for me, and I love the way that came together.
It's hard to see that when you're running for your life.
Sure, exactly. And then there's that, all you can hear is pain.
You're knocked up in the air, flailing around, like, what's happening to me?
Of course, there's the cinematic ultimates like Kraken. I think another close one that I really love seeing and hearing is still his ultimate, I'm a Monster. I think that's very visceral. As much as that's a buzzword, I believe that's to be true there. When she rises up into the air, you've got that sweet animation. And depending on the voice back, she might be screaming out, "Roar!" as she crashes down to the ground. I think it's very satisfying to hit.
I immediately, as I saw that question, one came to mind for me. Best ability, most satisfying ability in the game, too, is the Raw Snipe.
Oh, Raw Snipe is great. It's simple and elegant.
Just the best. It's just the best. It is. It's so simple. And it's just like, if you can punish people for being dumb, you really think you're just going to back, right there? Hey,
yeah, I always kind of
see you? Y'all not here? Hello?
You hit someone from behind two walls. Yeah, Janus ult is great. Even just Agni ult, right? It's usually actually a lot of these, mages, because that's the ones where you're going to get more abilities, right? Hunters are going to feel visceral in different ways. Their auto attacks hitting, or there's the steroids or Rama ulti, for example. But I think with mages and guardians, even Kerberos ultimate, for example, Stygian Torment, that feels really good too. You get this really nice thunk and crash into the ground as you rise these people into the air.
I love the feel of the new T5 Ares ult.
Oh yeah, that's phenomenal. The animations they did that was crazy.
Yeah, I've been having fun with that.
That ult feels really good now.
I don't have it. I do, but I have other things.
Supernatural.
Shut up, Dad. Next question is from Yuri. With the coming of Arthur Smite, will we eventually see a King Arthur skin from Fate stay night? I would love to see that. I want to spend the money to get it first.
I mentioned earlier with the Ravana talk, we've obviously have to be careful with the direction we take our skins. If we get too close to other intellectual properties, that might come back to bite us. I know of the series of that anime. I don't remember the King Arthur skin itself on the top of my head, but it's always good to throw those ideas in to the design team and see what comes out of them. Who knows, right?
We've had speaking of ideas, one idea that's really maintained its steam since we came up with it is the pool player Discordia skin.
Pool player Discordia? That's interesting.
Yes. Billiards Discordia.
Just
so
imagine
good.
this. She's in a business pantsuit with a vest. She's got the white button-up shirt with the sleeves rolled up. She probably even has a hat. And, all of her abilities work with pool. They all do. You got the cue ball rolling down, knocking out all the little balls. You got, the big green rectangle, just like the shape of a pool table. You got a black circle, that's a pocket. And then, you can have the giant 8-ball coming down the lane at you. There you go.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I want it. I would want that.
Either that or a digital Daji where she has a nerd pole of dirt
Do you work on skins at all, or just God design?
We give in feedback. I've worked very closely with Tina, who works right behind me, and she's our designer that works a lot on skins and events. Most of the time that I work on skins is mostly creating voice packs. There's been a lot of new skins, and every designer pitches in with voice packs. So, for example, I worked with AJ on the Tier 5 Ares, or the very first voice pack I ever did was actually the Panda Odin, because I used to be known as High-Res Panda. I was I very much wanted to do that voice pack, and Tina helped me work on that, even though I wasn't even a designer at the time. There are many ones that I've worked on since then. But that's pretty much as close as I get to skins. Every once in a while, we can definitely leave feedback. In fact, I was going to mention one of the more interesting ones that happened recently is during a skin brainstorm meeting. One of the designers, Austin, we were just debating on what we want to do for a Poseidon skin, and he kind of just threw out this idea that we were all like, he thought was kind of a joke, because it's always good to just have a sounding board of almost joke ideas too, because you never know what that's gonna bring to the meeting. So he was just like, guys, what if we just take Poseidon and throw him on a hoverboard? Well, that's now where Vaporwave Poseidon skin just evolved into. And that literally started with Austin just lying back smiling, going, what if we throw him on a hoverboard? And then it became a real thing. That is super awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, best ideas are in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next question from Mr. Net. Is there any old complete set theme skins you're all considering doing another batch? I'd personally love to see another Gentleman 5 set. Especially Gentleman Chalk, because he's singing in the rain.
Gentleman Chalk is pretty good. Again, I'm not too close to the skin pipeline itself, but I know people have been enjoying the chibi lineup, and we're definitely fleshing out more of those as much as we can. Not necessarily pumping them out particularly, but I think we love them as well, so we want to see more of them, right? So I think the latest one we have shown recently is the Chibi Soul, and she looks really cute and adorable with her little dress.
Can't wait.
So I know there's definitely going to be, I mean, I can't say definitely, but there's probably going to be more of those. Another line that people are going to say they don't like as much. In fact, I'm not sure really what to call it, is like the Spirit line that we did for Outwash, for example. I think Outwash and Izanami currently have them. I did the voice pack actually for Izanami, and I was very excited because if you listen to it, it's extremely creepy, and that was the vibe I wanted to give.
If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, there's a reason why.
That was me. I wrote that voice line. There's a couple of those.
That made me laugh out loud. I love that one. I'm like, jokes. Fucking great.
Well, I appreciate that. I actually worked on that voice pack, so we actually get on the call with the voice actors as well, so that's always a fun time. I did the Loki Dashing Deceiver voice pack with J. Michael Tatum, and I was a little fan of him from anime as well, so it was really cool getting to experience that with him. In fact, even I can't talk about voice packs and not go on with Chernobog. Chernobog's voice actor was Doug Cockle, or Geralt from The Witcher. That was an amazing experience.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, those games were awesome too.
They are awesome.
But to go backwards, I think seeing more chibi is always going to be nice. I love the spirited skins myself because they're just that beautiful men. Bakasura has one, right? I think he was one of the first, as well as with Upwash. They're like creepy and cute, and that's just an interesting vibe.
All right, Guy, why don't you pick some of the good questions out of this next bunch?
All right, we're gonna run through them real quick. I guess was it your birthday 5 days ago?
Oh my God, who said that?
We got Flareboat.
Of course.
Says, what is the most appropriate birthday present to get you? Also, happy birthday. And Titan Cupcake.
Of course.
Responded, is it your birthday?
My colleague as well. Okay, I might as well go. Have you guys heard about this? The My Birthday meme? I might as well talk about it here, because why not? I'm surprised you guys haven't heard of it. It's a running joke amongst the community that it is my birthday every day. So that's where that came from. Sometimes I'll go weeks where I do not get wished happy birthday, and those weeks are some of the most peaceful. Other times it'll come out as a joke, or I will wish someone else happy birthday, and then it becomes my birthday immediately. through that transition.
So you get embarrassed at restaurants a lot, is what you're saying.
Luckily, it doesn't transfer too much into. I'm going to say real life because work to me isn't really real life. It's like this own area where I just go to every day. That is just kind of like, again, it's a dream job. It really is, and I love working with my colleagues. But it doesn't translate too much to real life, which is awesome because that would be extremely embarrassing. But the reason, since we're going this far into it, the reason why that all started actually is because I used to live with the production boys. I used to live with Brad, Pon at the time. Actually, we lived there too. Adonis and Peckies, who all actually work in pretty much different spots now. And I noticed that Adonis was streaming. So I went, and he was streaming Outlast, I believe, at the time, which is, of course, if you guys know, is a horror game. So I decided it'd be funny to crawl up behind his door. Well, not really crawl up, just sneak. Sneak is probably a much better word for that. And to give him a jump scare in real life as he was playing that game. And, that was an awesome experience. In fact, to give him a plug out, it's actually on his YouTube channel. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know he has that clip on there, and you can see me in the webcam before, just sneakily getting closer and closer in the darkness. So that happened. The very next day, I was actually streaming on Smite Game at the time because I did a little stint as a Smite Game streamer. And I was just going ahead, streaming, playing Assault, I think it was at the time. And everyone barges into my room from the household with a cake, just singing Happy Birthday while I'm streaming to these 1,000 or so people. And at the time, I didn't even have editor privileges, so they even changed the title of the stream to have, It's My Birthday Clumsy or something like that, and I couldn't even change that. So that's where, because of my prank, it backfired onto me, and it's been my birthday every day since then.
Well, you reap what you sow.
Wow. So you must be getting pretty old then.
I am. That's definitely the other part of that, is how old are pandas, because I'm also known as the panda in the community, or high-res panda, because I went on Twitter for a year. How old is the panda? And at this point, I'm definitely a couple 100 years old. That's how it feels.
Oh, my.
That's
All
hilarious.
right, next question we
I
have
love it.
is from Duncan Sibley. He says, Herc Adventure 3
Oh, man.
or Island Pele Adventure, or any adventure. When are we going to get one?
Island Pele Adventure. I don't know what that would be, but that sounds awesome. I think that'd actually be a really cool environment. I'll have to think on that. I don't work on adventures myself anymore. I kind of traded places with Daniel Fishman, who used to be a god designer, and he's been the lead of designers, and he's worked on the last ones recently. Ever since the Daji Adventure, which was the last one that I worked on. Another one, I'm not sure, maybe. I don't know the current adventure pipeline, or maybe I do and I just can't talk about it. There's always that.
There's always that option. But,
yeah, exactly. So I'm going to leave that ambiguous and just go back with the old sentiment of, damn, I really loved the Hercules Adventure. I was extremely proud of them. I'm never going to stop saying that because they were an amazing project to work on. Actually,
Yeah,
I'm going
that.
to go off on that tangent there one more time. You said you played a lot of WoW, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think a bunch of
Did
us
you
have.
play the Hercules Adventure?
Mm-hmm.
The first one, the first RPG?
Yeah.
Do you remember the boar boss?
Yes.
Can you tell what that boss was an homage to? Because it was definitely immediately an homage to a WoW boss.
Was it Hogger?
No, it was a Nixia. If you remember correctly, he had those boar nests, boar caves, and he would do a swipe attack that would knock players towards those caves. And if you were ever close to them, it would spawn boars. I wanted that so bad, and I got to work on all the bosses in the gameplay because it was an homage to Anixia tail swiping players into the eggs. Which, again, if you're a WoW player, that's
Crush 'em got feared into the whelps moment.
Exactly. So, you get swiped into the boars.
What's that?
Stop! Dots! Okay, more dots. 50 DKP minus! I love all of that, so I wanted to get that in so bad.
Dude, that video even transcends the game. I've shown it to people that, have no idea what WoW is, but they can watch that video and appreciate it and laugh.
Oh, of course. But if you know WoW and you understand those in-jokes as well, it just makes it even more sweet. So I wanted the adventures to give you that experience of really playing an RPG with your friends. Whether it was literally and to have a boss as an homage or just the environments and the different mobs that you fought against. The adventures were all a really fun experience to work on. And again, I know that has nothing to do with the question, but I love the dungeons. I can't say that enough.
Yeah. The next one we got is from Shibellarino. What made you want to do game design? What is the hardest part of your job? And do you have any advice for people looking to enter the gaming industry?
Okay, so let's take that one at a time. What was that? What was the first one?
What made you want to do game design?
I mean, as a kid, I was a gamer from, a very young age. I think there's probably almost all of us who have played games at one time and thought, yo, I can make games. I can do this. This seems like a fun job to do one day. And that was definitely something that I aspired towards. I didn't really think I would ever get my hands into this field. Obviously, IT and computer science and all of that was my passion. I wasn't really the best student. I didn't enjoy homework. I didn't enjoy tests. I didn't enjoy the process of learning subjects that I didn't want to know more about. History was always interesting, but if I wasn't affiliated with that subject, then I really didn't have that motivation. But when it came to gaming, that's something that I loved, and that felt almost silly at the time, right? Because you can't just be... At the time, you really couldn't be a professional gamer. That wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. So I moved into the Smite realm. I became a semi-professional gamer, a semi-professional coach. The time is for Resist Gaming and the Fat Chunks Assemble, and even Complexity with Kiki, who's my current roommate actually right now, as well as Allied. Love the guy. And Incon and Weekend at the time. And from there, I just transitioned to actually getting my hands on the game design field. That was my in. Being a professional player, in a sense, was one method to get in. In fact, I actually used to cast a little bit with Hindu Man in the old EGL European tournaments. So I was actually going to try my hand at casting as well. But I got my in into the design field, and that's definitely the way I wanted to go.
Hell yeah. And he says, what's the hardest part of your job?
Oh God, what is the hardest part of my job? Well, it used to be when I wasn't a game designer, waking up every morning, right? That's the old traditional phrase. And I really felt that to be true. I was a dental insurance business analyst before I worked on games. And man, waking up every morning and going to a job you don't enjoy was the hardest part there. Here? At Hi-Rez and Smite? Hard moments really only exist due to time pressure and what you're working on. For example, last month I was working on the season 6 because I was working on the gameplay for that, and I was doing all the meetings for that, as well as Merlin, as well as starting up Jormungandr. That was stressful because there was a lot of things happening at the same time, but it was never really too hard. It was never something that I couldn't overcome. And that's just because if you enjoy what you're doing, nothing is really that bad. So that's what I'm probably going to leave it with that.
Hell yeah, living the dream.
Nerding out. That's what my wife calls it, at least, when I do.
Oh, absolutely.
You being a nerd again? Yes, I am, dear.
No, his last part is, do you have any advice for people looking to enter the gaming industry?
Absolutely. I've actually answered that question a lot of times for people over these years. It's not something that I ever thought I would ever be qualified to talk about, because I'm still very much a gamer, and I'm still surprised sometimes that I'm a dev. But if I had to go back and, give advice to people who are trying to get into the gaming industry, or give advice to myself, that's how I think of it. What would I do better? What should I have done more when I was in that field? Is, well, first of all, now that I have some insight, is to understand what part of game design you want to work on. If you want to be a game designer or a developer, that can mean so many different things. Do you want to work on programming? Do you want to work on animations or on effects or on tech art, or be a producer, or just be, a game designer and work on the gameplay and balance? Knowing what you want to do is so incredibly important. And one way of finding more information, and the next step as well, so it's kind of a joint bullet point there, is just, if you are interested in game design in the slightest, go ahead, look up a tutorial, figure out whether you want to download Unreal Engine 4 or Unity, and make something. It can be the simplest thing. They both are free environments and not too hard to use to just understand. Go ahead on YouTube, find a tutorial, make a snake, it doesn't need to be a game, make a calculator, go ahead and try it out. Even if you don't want to be a programmer, you can just follow the tutorials dot for dot and understand which thing you enjoy the most, what process was something you really grew close to, whether it's animating, whether it's designing, whether it's art or drawing. And from there, you can really start pushing all of your eggs into one basket and figuring out what you want to do. And it's also a great experience and a great thing to have projects in your portfolio for when you want to apply for game design studios. If you don't have a portfolio, if you're trying to be an artist, for example, and if you've never drawn something for anyone before, then you're never going to be accepted, right? You have to have something in your portfolio to show off. Even if it's super small, it doesn't matter. Even if you just followed a tutorial, it doesn't matter. But you have to show the project. You have to show passion for the project, and that's what's most important.
Awesome. Next one we have is from Jade Rabbit. Says, can we expect Nut in the future, as Geb mentions her in an unused voice line?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. I think there are a couple of times where we may record extra lines, and sometimes we don't use them. That must have been a directed taunt, I would assume, and they might have thought, may as well keep that in there for one day if we do newts. I'm never going to give away what our god roster is. I would just say, it's always a possibility. There's been more emphasis on exploring different pantheons recently, ever since we did the triple pantheon release with Chernobog, Baron, and Pele, where we did 3 completely different pantheons. We've wanted to try and explore other ones, but also bring it back. We mentioned we were going to be doing Horus and Set this year, and obviously Jormungandr is one of our current pantheons of the Norse pantheon. That doesn't mean we're going to just do the traditional gods or do completely out there ones. We know what the community wants, and sometimes we're going to try and fulfill those too. Completely ambiguous answer, because I can't just say yes or no.
Awesome.
It was an entertaining one, so that's good.
Next one
That's
we have
important.
is from High Res Ryu.
Oh my god, are you serious? Okay, so that's...
He says, what is your favorite thing about Titan Ryu asking for a friend?
Oh man, I love Richard, which is Titan Ryu. I'm not just saying that because he may be listening or he asked that question. What was it exactly? What is my favorite thing about Titan Ryu asking for a friend?
What is your favorite thing about Titan Ryu asking for a friend?
Easy. Super easy. His smile and his enthusiasm. He absolutely came into this team and worked his ass off and has made Smite better in every way. And he does it all with a smile. He comes into the design cube, and whenever he talks something, he's doing it because he cares. And wanting to care about the game and doing it with a smile and doing it with enthusiasm and passion, you can't ask for anything more than that.
And the next part of his question is, what would you rather fight, 100 Titan-sized horses or 1 horse-sized Titan?
1 horse-sized Titan, or, oh my god. Yeah, that's gotta be it. 1 horse-sized Titan. There's no way I would reverse. Isn't one thing meant to be big and one thing small? Those are both pretty big.
All right. The next one we have is from Impish Coconut. He says, Merlin's teleport feels better to use than Blink. Is his teleport using the same tech as Blink? And if not, can you update Blink to use the same tech?
No, it is... I mean, okay, that's not true. In fact, what was I saying no to? I'm the only one that can answer that, but... like, I was saying no to something at completely different points in my head. It actually started off being exactly Blink. Literally, the way our development process works is that if we have something similar... Cat. Yeah,
That's
this is what I was talking about. He gets right underneath the mic and realizes that I'm talking to friends and wants to interject too.
He wants to join the conversation.
Exactly. So the way we do things in the dev process, that if we have an ability or an item or anything that works the way we want a temporary god ability to work, we start by just taking that ability. We don't need to work on Merlin's Blink for scratch if we've got Blink in the game. So we started with the Blink foundation, and then we wanted to see what we needed to change from there. So the very foundations of Blink of Merlin's Flicker even is definitely, programmatically Blink itself. I think we probably have to go in and change a couple of things. I believe Merlin actually scales his size of his mesh a little bit while he's in that Flicker animation, but it's almost completely the Blink code, I would assume. Obviously, I need to check with the programmers to make sure that that statement is factual, but it is very similar to Blink. I think the main differences are probably just the effects, the trail, the sounds. But yeah, I would say it's pretty much exactly the same.
Did you cat to be kidding me, right, Meow?
Yeah, she's usually not that vocal.
She's telling us what she thinks about Merlin's Blink.
Merlin's OP.
All right, guys, another one or two, and let's move on to our session of progression, because I'm intrigued. For this.
Okay.
BC Man says, as an old Nox main, are you ever considering using her old ult, the anti-cast one, for a new god?
The anti-cast ultimate. So I played Old Nox. I think was I in the dev side for that? I can't remember at the time. An anti-cast ultimate. I think the idea there was very cool. What's always scary. There's a couple of abilities like that people pitch many times, which that we may or may not have implemented. Another example close to that is Mana Steal, which we in a way it was an experiment with Ethereal Staff to do something similar. But the problem with those ideas is that to have it in a balanced state might cause it to just be extremely oppressive, right? It's something that is fun for you, or sometimes not even that fun for you, but is extremely anti-fun for the other player. I would say we could definitely revisit it and maybe look at bringing it in as a healthier ability, where maybe the anti-cast mechanic is not the core function of that ability, but is something that is toned down a little bit and brought to a healthier state and is functioning with other parts of the ability itself. But it is definitely important to be aware of why we removed it in the first place, and that's because it was probably something that was very oppressive and wasn't that fun for the other players to experience.
All right, I have one from Heb. He says, what goes into deciding whether old characters are worthy of using updated tech for their mechanic?
I wish that one came with an example, because old characters using updated tech for
come
their
up with
mechanics.
multi-examples. It says, the updated Nemesis dash feels amazing, even on high ping. On instant cast, the targeter for part 2 doesn't come up, so you can left click to auto attack. Meanwhile, Susanoo 1 and Jing 10-3 feel clunky and inconsistent on high ping. And the targeters... Go ahead.
I think a big part of that probably comes with whether we're revisiting that tech with other gods or with items, for example. We generally try and keep all of our gods in a healthy spot, especially when they're released and we go through the bug process and we have feedback from other players to make sure that they don't feel too poor. But we can't always test everything ourselves. I think the best process for all games, not just ours, is, once it's in the PTS environment, once it's live, you have thousands and tens of thousands of players playing that god, and you're getting so many hours of testing that you just can't replicate that internally. To answer the statement more directly, we most likely would revisit older gods with updated mechanics and updated tech when we do something similar for a newer god. I don't know whether that was the case for Nemesis Dash, but I believe that was probably it, where we did a similar dash on a newer god and we decided, hey, it would be a quality of life fix to revisit this with similar dashes. Or sometimes we don't always realize what may feel awkward. Obviously, we are aware of the feedback on Jing Chen. We are aware of some of the older gods who may feel a little bit clunky, but that's not always the best reason to revisit them. It also depends on the workload and what it costs. A lot of people don't realize that if we want to just change something simple for an old god, that may take a lot of animation work, that may take a lot of effects work for every single skin that god has. And obviously there's the programming work of it too. So we have to really be aware of the costs and what exactly the issues may be, and then revisit them accordingly.
And the last one we have, I'm just going to give a shout out to American Zombie here. He's got a question, but you've already answered it. It's about the Ventures in Season 6, so we'll go ahead and skip it, but I'll give him a shout out anyways.
Oh, that was it?
That's it.
Oh, I thought there was still one question.
No, we've already answered it. It's over with.
All right. Well, thanks for the questions, folks. Keep it up.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
job.
If you guys ever have any more questions, I'm going to give my details out towards the end. But I love fielding questions. I love talking about that, about Smite in general. So definitely keep shooting them at me.
High five. So for this week, for our session of progression, we're going to talk about Janus.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Dude, we haven't talked about him yet, and you said you love him and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if Yuki were here,
all right. So today we're talking about Janus, Roman god of, amongst other things, beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, and endings. As is in the game, depicted as having two sides of a head. So he has a head on the front and the back. as he sees the future and the past at the same time. A particularly interesting thing about him, while he had no temple of his own, he was in every Roman rite. So every time there was a rite or tradition performed, he was called in name at the beginning and the end. So kind of interesting in that fact. No other Roman gods or goddesses cross over into literally every religious ceremony. There is kind of a other version of Janus that was specifically for harbors in the water, but the gates that lead in and out of Rome were named after him because obviously they're the ins and outs of the city. So pretty interesting in that fact. Nothing too wacky or crazy, but just a lot of things. Anytime, traveling or what have you, he would kind of be invoked. His name would be spoken, a prayer would be said. That's really about it for Janus. He's not crazy. He's just kind of everywhere because he's involved in every ritual.
But if he doesn't show up, then you just heard me say that, and that's what you get. Because sometimes I'm lazy when I edit. But for now, Dan, why don't you read off Janus's abilities here real quick, and then Clumzy will give us the lowdown on how to play him.
Okay. Janus's passive passages, that was almost really hard to say, actually. Anytime Janus transitions through a portal or over a threshold, he becomes aged and wizened, gaining additional magical scaling on his next ability cast. And that is 15%. His one is Portal. Janus creates a portal in the world. If placed on a wall, the portal will create a passage through to the other side of the wall that Janus or any ally may use. The portal may be entered from either side, but closes after one use. If placed on the ground, enemies and Janus will fall into the portal, being teleported into the air above it. Enemies take damage upon landing and are considered banished during the fall. The damage is 80 to 280 plus 60% of your magical power. The wall portal duration is 5 seconds. The banish duration when it's on the ground is 1.5 seconds. And the wall portal range is 100 units. Unstable Vortex is 2. Janus creates 2 unstable portals, far too small to fit into, and flings them forward, dealing damage to enemies in their path. Enemies hit by both portals take 15% damage on the second hit. The damage is 100 to 360 plus 80% of your magical power. Jesus, that's a lot. I knew it was a lot, but damn, that's a lot. Whew, okay. Sorry about that. His 3, Threshold, passive. Janus increases the movement speed of himself and allies each time they go through a portal or over a threshold, max 2 stacks. Active. Janus opens a multi-dimensional rift. Enemies who pass over the rift are slowed and marked with phase. Targets in phase take additional magical scaling damage when hit by Janus' damaging abilities. Okay, lots of little stuff. Phase slow is 25%. That would be on enemies. The rift duration is 3 to 5 second scaling. The passive duration is 5 seconds, so you get the 5 seconds of the speed buff. The additional scaling is 20 to 60, and the movement speed is 10 to 30% per portal. Damn, 30% per portal? That's fast.
That's what she said.
Wow. Okay. Alright. Now we're talking about the real big boy. The Kamehameha through space and time. Janus blasts a ball of multi-dimensional energy across the battlefield, burning a portal into every surface it encounters within range 500. These portals last 10 seconds, may be used by allies, and do not vanish after the first use. Enemies hit by the energy ball take damage, increasing in magical scaling the further the energy travels. Janus is immune to crowd control whilst firing. The damage is 300 to 700s plus 75% of your magical power. And the distance scaling is 100% of your magical power at distance greater than 800. So that's like 175% scaling and 700 base damage at wow.
And max range, yeah.
Yeah. That's a little bit of damage.
At the what the fuck just hit me?
That's a little wee bit of damage, don't you guys think?
Nah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. You look at the map and you see that little line going across the screen, and you're like right in the path, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you just suddenly have a bad feeling. You're like,
Yeah, suddenly you're stunned in place.
Suddenly I don't feel so well.
Yeah. I did not realize that his 2 did that much damage. Base.
Right. It's a pretty high amount of damage, but it's kind of also his only ability that he uses for damage outside of his ultimate. Obviously, the portal exists, but most of the time you're either going to use that to set up the vortex, which means it's going to be damage, or you're going to use that and hold that to escape. So the reason why it's so front-loaded with the damage is because it's kind of the only ability you're going to be throwing out consistently.
Right, exactly. It makes sense, and it's a lot of fun on Janus, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, once that ability is down, he's basically just running around in circles waiting till it comes back up again, right? Like, right. A lot of gods, a lot of mages especially, if they have multiple abilities, they can fire one out, and you still need to be somewhat threatened by what their capabilities are, right? Like, for an Agni especially, he can have multiple abilities plus 3 charges of his ultimate, but when Janus uses his Unstable Vortex, he's got no cards left up his sleeve in terms of damage. You know what he's going to be doing, and that's waiting. Or running.
Or juking.
Exactly.
Or jabbing.
You gotta put them ukes on.
Dodge, and more dodge.
Yes. Dodge, dive,
dip, duck, and dodge. I was trying to recall, and then I choked, so I decided to just repeat the same word 5 times.
Alright. So anyway, Clumsy here. So you're loading Janus up here in the mid lane on the old Conquest map.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you get things started with them here as far as abilities and build outs and combos, and then build wise as well?
Yeah. Well, with Janus, you absolutely want to max your Unstable Vortex. I see little reason. Well, okay, that's not true at all. I think you can definitely max your portal or your threshold. After that, your threshold will probably be used if you want to play much more passively, because your portal is not going to be gaining cooldown reduction as you rank it up. But if you want to be aggressive, you can definitely max your portal next. That's what I like to do, because I'm a very aggressive Janus. I like getting that combo of portal and then Unstable Vortex back to back. I think that is nasty, and if you can actually hit both of them together and hit the inside double balls of Unstable Vortex, you're going to be sending an enemy back to base, basically. So I would go with the skill priority of Unstable Vortex into portal into threshold, obviously skilling through space and time at every chance you can get. That's not what everyone does. If you're not going to be using your through space and time aggressively, then there's absolutely no reason to level it up past the first level, because if you're not going to be using it for the damage, that's all it does when you're scaling it. So you can put more points into your Unstable Vortex, get more damage out, put more points into your portal, get more damage out on that, or even use the utility of the thresholds, and then save your through space and time ranks afterwards. At the beginning of the game, for sure, you want to be getting Mage's Blessing. Season 5 and Season 6, Mage's Blessing is almost core. Book of Thoth meta is still there. I would say in Season 6 it might still exist. It might be harder to rush into, especially with the changes on its conversion, but I think a very safe option would definitely be go with Mage's Blessing. You need that extra damage early on, especially since we nerfed the cooldown on Unstable Vortex. Also, building into early Chronos Pendant is something I like to go, so getting that Mage's Blessing, Lost Artifact, Purification Beads, as well as some Healing Pots and Mana Pots would be my preferable loadout for the beginning of the game. Then converting your next items into Shoes of the Magi and getting a quick Chronos Pendant is really good too. Spear of the Magus, picking that up second or third, is very important. I love Spear of Desolation too, so you can definitely pick that up as well. Bancroft's is a pretty safe item too. He gives Janus loads of lifesteal, loads of power, to be honest. Also, since Season 6 is coming up, might as well say you can turn that Lost Artifact into a Doom Orb, or I think a Cursed Orb is the first tier of that. I'm not sure if it's Cursed or Radiant right now, because we went back on that internally, so I can't even remember. And then building that into a Doom Orb late game, but you definitely want to get a Chronos Pendant too. I don't like building into defenses as an aggressive mage, so unless you really need a Magi's Cloak or Celestial Legion Helm, I would say try and avoid them, unless obviously you're versing a Loki like we talked about earlier. Otherwise, getting your core items of Shoes of the Magi, Chronos Pendant, Spear of Desolation, Spear of the Magus is extremely important. And probably an Obsidian Shard too.
Yeah, that Ob Shard last item is really strong on mages.
Yeah, you need that to be able to hit the tanks. Soul Reaver is still a pretty good item. Obviously, it did get nerfed going into Season 6, so we're still going to have to wait to see its viability. You can also go heavier on the lifesteal by going into Bancroft's Typhon's Fang and Soul Gem. Soul Gem is pretty good on Janus as well.
Yeah, I really like running Janus in the jungle too.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Pon loves talking about Janus jungle. I've definitely seen it before. He doesn't bring that much CC into his ganks, but he does bring that damage, and you don't know when and where he's going to be with his, abilities to go through walls.
I just think it'd be like the perfect game where you're like, you're floating through the jungle on the other side of the map, dual lane calls for a gank, and you just get a double kill in like left and then gank right lane at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Just I guess perfect life.
Mm-hmm. I didn't talk too much about, the way you play him or anything, but for the most part, Janus, like I said earlier, he's a one-trick pony. In terms of his damage, you want to cast it on Unstable Vortex out. You need to cast it on the wave. You don't have too much outside of that for poke. Using your portal aggressively is a very scary tactic because if you get ganked right after your portal is on cooldown, you're pretty much dead unless you've got that ultimate. Of course, you want to stay close to walls at all times of Conquest. In Arena, he's going to be doing a lot less. He's actually definitely not one of the strongest gods in Arena because you don't have many walls to access.
Which side of the column am I going to be on?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I've seen some people get some sweet through space and time snipes while the enemy is trying to run back into their base. But for the most part, in Conquest, you want to stay close to walls because that's your greatest ally. If you're going to get ganked, you might as well be near a wall. I've seen many Januses escape Odin ulti because if they're hugging a wall, that cage is not going to do anything. You just portal right on through and you just go on your merry way. But if you can, your mega combo for sure is going to be using that portal, Unstable Vortex, getting that threshold down on the enemy as well in between, for more easy confirmable damage, starting with your threshold to slow your enemy, and then going into your portal Unstable Vortex will be much easier. That's kind of what I like to do if I have my ultimate and beads available in case I get ganked. The big trap that Janus players fall into, which I think is actually one of the reasons why he is so low statistically on the win rate, is because his threshold is one of his highest damage output abilities, right? It gives his next damage ability 60 extra scaling late game, which is huge. That means that Unstable Vortex, if you're hitting someone with the threshold, is going to be proccing for 60% extra damage in terms of your magical power scaling. So threshold is extremely important to use offensively if you really want to get your maximum Janus potential out there. Worrying about your passive, I would say, is actually not that big of a deal. Being a dev and looking into Janus many times, I've run the numbers. Your passive is important, but really it's not going to be contributing that much to your overall damage output. I would say keeping that threshold to use on enemies to slowing, as well as having those enemies slowed for the rest of your teammates, is incredibly useful. You can probably get more damage out using your threshold into Unstable Vortex and holding your portal to escape if needs be, if you don't have your ultimate available.
And see, that's a good piece of advice because I always see everybody drops their portal, then hits you with the Unstable Vortex.
If you can get that combination off, that's great. Like, you're going to be setting someone back, but I would only really use that aggressively if you know you're going to get a kill, which is hard. The portal deploy time isn't that quick. I think it's around the same as Kronos' time rifts. But, just using your Unstable Vortex and using a threshold aggressively may give you more damage opportunities more consistently, and then saving that portal for when you need to escape, or if you really want to all in on someone, is probably a good choice too.
All right, so if you had to spill the beans on like one of like here's the secrets on how to like really do well or something really cool with him, what secret would you spill right now?
As a Janus?
Yeah.
You can kill yourself on the Joust map.
Oh,
well, that's an interesting one.
I've seen a video of the guy put it on the wall with Ares and grabbed like 3 people and went through the portal and pulled all 3 people through the portal.
You can actually.
It was crazy.
Yep, you can Ares ultimate through the Janus portals, I believe. But I mean, cool. Using one of the main plays that I love doing. In fact, I think I did this in a tournament once before I was even dev was, the dropship tactic, right? If you ward up the enemy's back camps or by speed buff and you have a Phoenix down, just bringing in your entire team, maybe with a Heavenly Wings as well, and dropshipping right into that Titan and taking it out is always a ton of fun. But I would say your key thing that you want to remember as a Janus player is just your positioning. You have a lot of movement speed. You're extremely mobile with just your passive on Threshold, which is the increased movement speed, that you just want to be running around. Shaman's Ring is another item that I didn't mention earlier, which gives you increased movement speed and even more damage, which is incredibly useful for Janus. Doom Orb in Season 6, I mentioned that once, will be incredibly important as well to give him increased movement speed too. Just, moving around your enemies and finding the right place to be, using your ultimate either for mobility or for that cheeky snipe even, is going to be incredibly important.
Yeah.
I think Season 6, I'm just going to be a Janus jungle main.
I mean, why not? I mean, what I heard was a Merlin jungle main, right?
No. He's fine with Janus.
Yep. You
Actually,
can be
you
the
know
youngest
what?
jungle main.
You're right.
I'll be
Janus will be
Merlin
a
support.
fallback, but Merlin will be the main.
Just make sure you pick that Gem of Isolation on Merlin. It feels real good.
Does it feel real good?
Oh yeah, it's going to feel real good.
Oh yeah.
Imagine Fire Stance with a slow as well.
I was thinking about ice with the blizzard, and then
Blizzard
Frostball
slowing more,
down.
Frostball taking the extra damage for hitting slowed enemies just with Gem of Isolation. Even Arcane slowing people down so they can't leave that Eclipse.
Ouch.
Yeah.
There's the real tip we were
We are
looking
back
for.
on Merlin again. Oh, I can't wait.
I can't stop myself. I'm extremely excited for his release.
So are we. I promise you that.
So two other questions. One, quick one, and then I don't know on one, but the quick one is what skin for him, and the not so quick one is you come into Conquest, you look on the other side of mid lane, and there's Janus. How do you beat him?
All right, let's start with that and go with the gameplay. I mentioned a little bit earlier, recognize that Janus needs to use his Unstable Vortex in a very unorthodox way, right? He really wants to hit both portals of his Unstable Vortex every time he's firing it on both sides of the minions, on both the archers and the melee. So he has to position himself incredibly uniquely, and that's either extremely close range on the melees or further back, a couple units back to make sure he hits both parts of the wave. So that means he is extremely predictable. You know where he's going to be every time he wants to hit minions, and you can utilize that to your advantage, especially because, like I mentioned earlier, is that once he's used that Unstable Vortex, he has no damage output. He can throw a cheeky portal at you, but that's almost even more dangerous. I mean, if you're an Agni and he throws his Unstable Vortex and you get close up into his face and he throws a portal at you, you just dash at him and unload your entire kit. He's got nothing left. So utilizing the time between his Unstable Vortexes is how you kill Janus quickly.
Yeah, when I play Opwash, I always because I always watch him for a few waves and see where he's standing at to clear the wave, and then I just start firing off in that spot.
And the second thing is what skin? Man, I am extremely happy with all the Janus skins. I have one or two that's my favorite. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, what, you don't choose Bass Drop as your initial immediate favorite? It's cool. I like the effects. I like the sounds. The immediate favorite for me was just Jandroid to start with. I think it's extremely iconic. I love the voice pack and the way he sounds. I definitely think that's one of my favorite skins for his. I'm not actually that fond of Worldwalker myself, although I know a lot of people love the effects there. I think they're cool. But I'd rather go with Jandroid and Warp Tech. I'm also definitely a little bit biased towards Warp Tech because I wrote the voice pack for that skin, and I loved the way it came out. I was very happy with the voice actor we found. So Warp Tech, Janus, and Jandroid are by far my favorites.
Awesome. All right. Well, there's how you play Janus and what skins to use. As always, feel free to hop into Discord to continue on any conversations about any questions here on any of the gods during our session of progression. All right. How you doing on time there, Clumsy?
I got a couple more minutes, but I'm ready to wrap it up whenever you guys are.
All right. Well, we were just going to go into our games of the week after you left. So, anything else? Any other questions that we have here, folks? Or any that maybe we skipped over if we got a few minutes? Guy?
Let's see.
Oh, let's all go like
Let's see.
I kind of asked my question. My main question was just when the patch was going to come out because I'm just waiting for Season 6.
So, anything on Jormungandr you can tell us?
I'm extremely excited for him as well. Unfortunately, I'm not actually going to be there on the Patch Notes show because I'm heading out to GDC on that same day. But I know AJ's going to be there talking about all the goodies. I'm not going to say anything spoiler-wise, but he is one big snake. So look out for that.
I think that whole concept, to me, I'm like, no, that's pretty cool. That's a cool way of handling, who he is and how do you translate that onto this battleground. I was impressed.
There's going to be some fun things to look out for there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the whole no knock-up thing and all that, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for him, without a doubt. He's coming along together very well. We just actually had a playtest earlier today. I'm not going to give any more details, but like I said, he's a big snake, and you're definitely going to notice that on the battlefield.
So, I got a question. How often do you guys, when it comes to new gods, new abilities and so forth, how much do you actually look to the community for that?
For new gods and abilities specifically?
Yeah, I mean, how often do you visit that well? There's a lot of good community god ideas, skin concepts, I'm sure, abilities and stuff.
Skin concepts, I'm sure we all trawl through the Reddit all the time. Reddit, social media, Twitter, even the forums as well. Those are all important uses. Every designer is going to get something different out of each of those. Skins, obviously we're very aware of our skin concepts. Sometimes we may not agree with some of what some of the community wants, but sometimes, we do quite closely, try and get along with some of the community ideas and the vibes. That's how, the Vulcan skin came about. That's how the Zhonghui skin that's coming out. I think it's actually already out, right? The Oogie Boogie skin has existed. On my side, for abilities and the design of gods themselves, again, every designer is going to do something a little bit different for their gods that they work on. We all have our own workflow. I like to look at Reddit for inspiration before I am working on a god myself. So I like looking at Reddit, see what they're suggesting. It's all actually not very surprising, right? I'm someone who plays a lot of different MOBAs at the same time. I've come from a League of Legends background. I've come from a Dota background. I've come from even a Heroes of the Storm background. So a lot of these ideas you actually see are not necessarily unique. And I'm not bashing the community, but they're usually reflections of other games. And since, all of us designers, and in fact, so many people at the company are gamers, we see that reflection as well. So once I'm on the god process, I try and do my best actually not to look at specific suggestions for gods that are also there. So for example, with Jormungandr, I'm sure there are a lot of community suggestions for specific abilities. And I will do my best not to look at them initially until I'm happy with a couple of ones that I've already created myself. And then after that, I will look at what other people have suggested and see if they've really brought something that enhances the way we want Yorm to be played and the way we think he should exist in our game. And if that's the case, then there's definitely some times where we might be like, okay, you know what? That twist that this person has taken might actually be more useful on what we've done here. And that's how I come across when I'm looking at community concepts for gods, personally.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that breakdown.
No problem.
Any other questions, folks?
I think I'm good.
Now, Beagle wants to know if you watch Supernatural.
No, he just turned that into, quote unquote, my question.
I watch a lot of different shows right now. Supernatural is unfortunately not one of them. I just finished The Punisher yesterday.
Ooh,
so that's been my recent watch. It was Punisher
good.
Season 2 is fantastic. I will definitely be looking at a couple of other ones on my hit list next. I think The Good Place and Blacklist are there too.
All right.
I don't really watch much TV. Supernatural is pretty much the only show because my friend basically forced me to watch it.
Oh yeah.
Castle Rock.
Yeah, I never really watched
fell in
much
love
TV.
with the show.
She's when she watches a TV show, she marries it. She's
Fair enough.
First it was
I just
Heartland.
don't like most TV.
I will never watch any other show other than Heartland. And then Supernatural came along as Heartland was doing some weird, stupid things.
I always felt there's going to be a different show.
Bam! Now it's Supernatural.
If
Give
you
her a
haven't
couple
yet, I
years
suggest.
and we'll see.
I just don't enjoy TV anymore. It's all the same.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I just don't.
Why not play games and make your own stories instead?
It's all the
Yeah,
same, so I
high
just watch
five.
the same Supernatural
like
episode
that.
over and over again.
That's why I watch more YouTube.
All right. So anyway, Clumsy, how can folks get a hold of you out there, ask you questions, harass you, and other good natured things? And apparently you like puns, so definitely send you a lot of good puns.
Yeah, every once in a while, go for it. Shoot me with your best pun. But you can find me most easily by far on Twitter, where my handle is @TitanClumzy. Clumsy is spelt with a Z instead of an S, because I like making things difficult. So this is a bit of a meme itself, but every once in a while I will stream. I used to be a big streamer in terms of how often I used to do it. Now, not as much, but you can find me there on twitch.tv/ClumzyD. Used to go by the moniker of Clumsy Death, so that's that.
Cool, man. Well, hey, it was great having you on the show here. And I think
it's been an awesome time.
I can speak for all of us when I say that we are very excited for season 6.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
I was disappointed when I heard it was like being pushed back on season.
I mean, on the dev side, we agree. I mean, we've been playing season 6 for months and months internally, and we all play Smite as well as on our free time, right? That's probably one of the reasons why we enjoy being designers the most, because we are still players of the game, and I want it to be out so I can go ahead and start playing too.
Awesome, man. Just awesome.
Really appreciate you coming on, man, taking time. I'm sure
absolutely.
you're like really super busy with season 6 coming out.
It has been insane. I know it's been hard to, find a right date for us, but season 6 has been a crazy process with Merlin. Jormungandr will be soon on its heels too, but it's been a great time on this podcast. I'm excited to have been here.
High five, man.
Thank you for choosing a Wednesday and not a Thursday like every other guest seems to do.
It's all good.
All right, man. Peace out.
That's been nice.
So, now that Clumsy's gone, we are going to backtrack here to our Games of Ye Old Week, which, to help jumpstart these guys, I'm going to go ahead and go first this week because there's some ones I wanted to talk about, which might bleed over into some of their games here. Definitely one will for Dan, because I have this note on my paper to look here to not forget to tell Dan to talk about something. But first, I want to talk about specifically Dan Beagle and I playing a joust yesterday.
Oh, come on. That was like the one game I actually remember.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it together. I'm not going to... I don't have to hoard everything,
Oh, you don't have to? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Dan was playing Vulcan. Beagle playing AMC.
Hold up. I'm still, okay. Yesterday, remember out of my godlike chest, what did I get compared to my freaking Enigma chest booster that I accidentally popped?
What did you get, Beagle?
I don't remember, what's the name of that AMC skin? I actually don't know.
Dark Whisperer.
Oh, I was right. I was like, I think it's Dark Whisper, but I'm not sure. I got that out of my Enigma chest booster that I accidentally popped because I was going to wait for a full group.
Yeah, jealous.
But I was just popping boosters. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm like really, really, really happy with that. And my godlike chest I got out of that game gave me 15 fantasy points boosters, which are useless now.
No, they're not useless. They'll get flopped over to the next season's thing.
Wait, they do?
Yes.
I thought that wasn't even like a thing anymore.
No, they're going to change it into the other thing.
They're going to
thing
change
was
into
the
battle
thing.
point boosters.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay, good. Then, alright. I guess it's not that
All
bad then, but it's still like really out of my godlike chest.
Yeah, that sucks. But I was playing Ganesha in this match.
Ganesha?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ganesh.
Ganesh.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Uller, Ra, and Bologna. And we just fucking walked at them the whole game long.
I was scared.
It was,
But
like, they didn't play bad. They just were, we walked at them. We just kept going, and they tried. They gave it the good college try, but it just wasn't working for them in this particular matchup. And we walked on it. It was just one of those fun games where it's like, all right, cycling back to base, just keeping the pressure on. We only need 2 people here to do that right now. We just out-leveled them, just out-walked down the lane better than them. But again, I've been having a lot of fun with Ganesh, and yeah, he's definitely fun. Dan, I won't bring up you trying to play Fafnir as a mage in our next one, but
he's a good mage. I kicked ass.
You did okay. But we got to play with our old host and good buddy Dicey some over this last weekend. And we were in this arena match where I was Ra this time, and Dicey was Fenrir. And there was Dan, you might want to talk about this. And this is where you were popping off as Sasano, and Beagle was Ymir.
Wait, what?
But
I was trying to find that game.
The enemy team had a Mercury on it, who was a royal pain in the ass. Because he knew what to do and could do it quickly and just kill you, and, you know, if you were the squishy, and get out of dodge. Like, all right.
He could kill me. I had almost 4,000 freaking health.
Yeah.
Almost. I was like 3,800.
So he was a real good Mercury. But we're winning this game. We got a commanding lead, you know, that's building as the match goes on. You know,
you're welcome.
It's obviously that we're just going to win this. But back at base, finish out my buy, whatever, I don't know. But I'm coming out of base and there's 11 tickets left. And I'm like, my ult's up. I just want to kill that fucking Mercury. Where is he? And as I'm coming out from Fountain towards the fight in mid, the fight's kind of up between the enemy's two pillars, and there on the outside to the right of them is the Mercury. And I see him just like looking, waiting, looking for that moment where he's going to pop into that fight, kill somebody, and just have a good day, right? And I'm just watching him as I'm getting closer and closer. And right about the time I come out to our side where the columns are, I see him make his move. And I'm like, all right, he's going to end up right here where my team is. My team was in a perfect line down my shoulder. So I turned and just hit the alt button. And as I did that, Dicey alts as Fenrir, picks up somebody, I don't even remember who at this point, and just stops and stands in this exact same line where I just stopped and hit my ult. And not only do I kill Dicey's target, 100%ed the Mercury for the double kill for the win. And that was a high five moment, since that seems to be my word of the day anyway today. Sorry about that. Other than that, I've been fiddling with Al Kwong a little bit and trying to figure him out. And Dan, I wanted to remind you about your and Dicey's adventures in Duo Lane.
My adventures in Duo Lane. I gotta find that.
What do you think I might be talking about right now?
Pretty sure you're talking about this game.
And what
Vulcan
game
Carry,
is that?
baby.
Oh, a Vulcan Carry, yeah. And who was your support?
I, before the game started, called for Vulcan Carry, a Wheelix support. And Dicey was down. He was down.
How'd that work out?
Oh, it went really fucking good. We destroyed our lane. I went 4-1-4. Dicey was just all over the place, pulling people, and we were just dumping on him. It was a really fun game.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, okay, I think I ended up being Ra in that game, if I remember right, but gotta get your Ra on.
Yes, you were.
So how did you pop off as Sasano so much? Did you really like 24 kills that match?
Yeah, an arena before that. I was just looking at that one. 24, 9, and 14. Sasano is just ridiculous because he could just pull you in, hit you with the 3, 1 you jump away, but then he just teleports to you, hits you with the 1 again, and then he hits you and you're dead. I mean, like, there's just no escaping a Sasano. A good one with 40% cooldown.
Wait, so you're saying you're a good one?
I'm saying I'm an okay one.
Okay.
Did you know he could teleport out of Odin's cage?
Yeah.
I did not know that until he fucking killed me the other day with it. I'm like, oh, he's caged. I'm free. And all of a sudden, boom, he's teleported out on top of me. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep, his 3 goes through Odin Cage.
You learn something new every day, unfortunately.
It doesn't go through a mirror wall or anything, but it does go through Odin Cage.
Interesting.
Odin Cage is like a soft wall. That's what I call it.
A soft wall.
Yeah, because some shit goes through it that
It's
doesn't
just
go through
bars.
other stuff.
It's not technically a wall.
What other games you got, Dan?
Honestly, I haven't been playing that much. I had a pretty good Conquest as Pele. I went 10, 4, and 15. Pele's just broken, though. I was like, hey, I want a free win, so I'm going to play Pele. And guess what? We won.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, it was like magic.
Got any spaghetti stories for us?
No, I have officially cut any affiliation with Spaghetti. I'm in the middle of an emotional damage lawsuit.
Guy, what are you talking about here?
I mean,
I
heard Dan needs healing.
It's like I wake up Sunday morning to work on the podcast, as tradition would state. And so I'm sitting here and I get this random message. And let me see, what did it say? It said oh yeah, here it is. 10:21 a.m. Sunday morning. From Dan's cousin. Throw spaghetti at Dan. A moment later, for $15. I reply back, that's pretty funny, man. But I'm pretty sure I actually have spaghetti leftovers in the fridge. You ready to be out $15? The reply was, if there's video, I will gladly give you $15.
I wish I did this.
Then you can insert the SpongeBob gif of him getting his big goofy smile and squinting his eyes from me. And, well, then there's a video of me throwing spaghetti at Dan while he's sleeping.
It was more of like an airdrop onto his face.
Yeah, I was, I didn't want to make a mess. I was nice about it, as Guy put it. He would have just used a whole handful.
Dude, I would have grabbed a handful of spaghetti, damn on everybody and their leftovers, and I'd have smashed you in the face with it. Just blam!
Now I kind of wish Guy did it.
I didn't even remember this either. Like, I had no idea.
I know, he woke up. I'm like, do you, remember, anything? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you better check the Discord.
The look on his face when he woke, he's got, the fear of God in him.
Dude, I didn't know what the fucking landed on my face.
I was so happy it recorded that, because as soon as I seen that, I lost it and I had to walk away. And I'm like, I have no idea what I just recorded there in the end. And then I watched it back, and then we get to that part, and Dirtnap's mom and I just giggled profusely. So
she sat there one night just replaying the video over and over again, and we couldn't stop laughing.
Oh,
I hate you guys.
That was the best game of the week, right there.
That was
the spaghetti
best
moment.
Play of the week.
That was. So, question is, should I make that video public or not?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. So Guy says yes, Beagle says yes, Dan,
do it.
I didn't even know it wasn't public.
Obviously, I don't want it public at all.
So Dan, you said you want it public.
No.
Right, well, if you want it public.
Yes, Dan.
That's not what I said at all.
I didn't even know it wasn't public. I'd already shared the link if I'd have known it wasn't public.
No, you can share the link. It's very shareable. It's just not public on YouTube. You gotta know where to find it. Well, hey, you want to see the spaghetti story? Hit Guy or I up for the link. We'll send it to you.
I can imagine the memes that could be made off of it.
Oh God, yeah, I know. I was thinking, if someone was good with some, some video memes or some GIF memes, they could have some fun with that part.
I hate you guys.
At this moment, Dan realized that he screwed up.
I screwed up? What did I do? I was asleep.
You chose to sleep. First of all, you chose to sleep during the day when we're
I bet you
here.
I've got some video clips of you screaming spaghetti at me to heal you for hell. And we can just cut to spaghetti getting dropped on your
his
face.
Okay. If somebody makes that, I will give them
you guys.
$1.
You'll give him a what, Beagle?
$1. I don't want to give away my money.
You'll get. She's got you $1.
I'll give you.
You almost had it.
Gotta be quicker than that.
I don't know. I have nothing. I don't really have anything valuable.
I don't know. Anybody else got any games they want to talk about? What about you, Beagle?
You talked about mine. I really don't remember the rest. I haven't been playing that much.
Dude, she hasn't played that much. She comes back and plays AMC like a god. How much damage did you do that match? That was, like, insane.
I don't even
Is that what I'm
know.
thinking of?
I just realized I don't even have, what's it called, pulled up, which is very stupid. But
all
all I know is that
Very stupid, but not surprising.
Wow, I'm hurt.
Oh.
Very
All I know.
stupid, but not surprising.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. But I just know that I literally, that poor Uller though, like, I mean, he just, what? Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Why is my life so difficult? I didn't even spell it
Because
right.
mouse clicks. Hard. No, you did 24,000 damage in that match. I mean,
What?
you said you did 24,000 damage in that match, which was a 20-minute match. There was another one, though, where you were playing him and you did a shit ton. I don't know where it was.
Let me look. I'm on. Let me look. I just gotta look through. It shouldn't be that far down. I really haven't played much. But I went 11-1-3 that game. I don't even remember how I died. I remember at one point, though, yeah. I almost killed, I'm pretty sure it was Uller, yeah, because he jumped away. He had, like, no HP, but he also stepped in my honey, and I'm like, Dan, get him! Please get him, Dan! And then it just says I gotta kill him. It's like, never mind.
And then Dan's like,
Just, never mind.
he died to your honey.
No, she got a double kill with that honey.
Oh, that's right, it was a double kill.
Yeah, it was a double kill. That was...
She was halfway back through the tower getting a double kill.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a...
Off of her honey.
Oh, it was assault 3 weeks ago. So I don't know. I don't think I've talked about it, though. 3 weeks ago? Really?
Really?
This was not 3 weeks ago. What the heck? Okay, but I went 13-2-13. This is actually the game that, like, made me want to play MC more. And I did, I think it was, like, over 54K
Yeah.
damage.
That's the game I was thinking of. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
He's about to be good.
Oh, yeah.
He's about to get a buff.
Dad never even had to put his Geb shield on me once.
Yeah, we did talk about that episode.
Mm.
I remember that, because
yeah,
I remember
we
the
did.
Geb shield. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even have to Geb you.
That's right. Okay, we did.
Alright, yeah.
I was like, ah.
Seems like only yesterday you were
That felt like
far
3 days
away.
ago, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it was 3 weeks ago.
What about you, Guy?
Hey, where have I been?
What's Mr. Humble himself been doing this week?
Crawling my way back up in the ranks with Aquash. I'm back up to number 3 right now. I'm going to try to get to number
Man,
1.
I've been feeding lately.
I'm trying to get to number 1 before Tuesday. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But, that's about it, really.
Wait. Oh my god, that's what tomorrow is. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time's moving
It's
on,
closer
man.
than I thought.
I'm like, do I try to play a bunch of ranked joust over the next few days to try to get the Guan Yu skin? And then I had to laugh because that's like a lot of games I'm going to have to play to get that, because factoring in losses and stuff.
I was
So,
about to say a lot of wins.
yeah. And I just never know. It's a grab bag down here, folks. It's a grab bag.
Ooh, shut up. I found a game. So the other day I was like, I forgot about this game, but this is really good. So the other day, I was like, I was really bored, and I was like, I haven't played Smite in a while. Alright, I guess, well actually no, I played the night before, but whatever, shut up. It's like, alright. Yuki and Herb were playing together, so I joined the party, and Yuki ended up going AFK, so we thought he wasn't going to be back for a while, because he said he was like going to get a haircut or whatever. So we played a conquest, and I was playing carry, and I was playing Shivalante. And then somebody locks in raw support, and I'm like, well, this is gonna be horrible. This is gonna go so badly. Gee, I mean, we were even against an Uller and a Sylvanas. Oh gosh, I was so wrong. I hate myself for ever talking like that. It went so well. It went so well. Actually, Raw was pretty much top everything, I think. Oops, I just clicked on the wrong button.
Clickety click clack.
Shut up now.
Click.
Let's see. Yeah, that's right. He went, wow, he actually died more times than I thought, but why is this giving me different stat?
Why ask
It's
why?
It's giving me different stat.
Make sure you're on the match stats, not just the view, because the view gives you the average stuff.
Okay, yeah, here we go. I was very confused. I'm like, no, none of us died. He went 4-0-2. I went 2-0-4. So he even got most of the kills. He had Guardian's Blessing, cooldown boots, and Rod of Asclepius. So, I mean, I just, the amount of times he would hit a snipe, it was just amazing. He knew what to do. We got their purple, and it was like an Uller and a Sylvanas, and they could not touch me. Or him. We were just that good.
That good?
Like, I was like so like upset. I was like, well,
how good were
sorry,
you?
but this game is a loss. What?
How good were you?
So good.
So good?
Yeah. It went really well. I was shocked. But, yeah, he was top damage with 17k. I didn't even know what to say.
Well, since it was so good, we'll leave it at that. It was so good. So, speaking of things that are so good, Guy, I know the calendar is pretty booked out here for guests coming over the next few weeks.
Right.
I can't even keep track of who's actually next week.
Next week we have the man himself, Define Pride, coming on.
Ooh, looking forward to that. How far, that'll be fun.
Heck yeah.
All right. So, hey, obviously, if you got any questions out there that you would like to ask Defined Pride, or you just want to get to know them better, or whatevs, hit us up in our social medias and or on the Discord. Seeing a lot of new faces popping in there. It seems like almost daily now there's new faces popping in, and I love it. I mean, again, we do this show not just for us. I mean, we love it because we love the game, but we also want to share that with you. So,
yeah. We love you, even if you're a Patriots fan or a Redskins fan or a...
I guess I love you even if you hate Supernatural.
Or not a Colts fan, just basically.
Yeah, Colts suck. No Colts fans.
Easy.
No Colts fans.
How about this? I hate football, and I don't care.
I used to love
and
football.
I don't care, then I don't care!
And now I don't care about football so much
I hate
anymore.
Supernatural.
Oh,
I did just quote something from Supernatural.
Oh, and she showed you. She pre-quoted you. All right. Hey,
I don't care, then I don't care.
Beagle, how can people get a hold of you?
Don't.
Yeah, she won't play with you anyway.
Oh, I mean,
I'm
whatever.
waiting for season 6.
No, that's not my excuse at all. I just don't ever feel like it. I don't know. But you can find me on Twitter at Beagle_girl2780. No, not 80, sorry. No, that's wrong. 27. Just 27. And if you even want to bother, I guess, you can hit me up on PlayStation, Beagle_girl2780.
And Mr. Guy?
You can find me on Twitter at GSmitey. You can find me on PlayStation at GuyAJ78 and on Xbox at GuyAllSmitey.
Don.
Okay, you can find me on the Twitterverse at Split Push Podcast with no A. And you can find me on the PS4 at DirtXNapXDan. And on the PC as DirtNapDan with no X's.
If I ever get a computer, I'll let you know, because, God, I hate PS4 sometimes. And
Relics!
for one reason and one...
Relics!
Yes, that's exactly why. Like, I remember... And also, surrender modes, I remember the one time I'm, like, literally sitting here focusing on pressing the buttons. I was sitting in Fountain, because I was getting frustrated. I couldn't do it out in the open, so I was like, alright, I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna just... I sat there the entire surrender vote, and it would not let me vote!
She's probably already done
It
dead
would-
and is still trying to. That was
I'm
that bad.
stupid.
I'm
I just
literally
wanna
just,
go
like,
off.
sitting here,
I
like,
just wanna
staring
go
at the
off.
controller. I'm doing down button L2, L2 down button at the same time. I can't do it. And I was ready to break my controller. Like, I want to play on PC, but I don't want to start over. I would like to have all my stuff that I spent money on.
Yeah, PlayStation, get on the
And-
bus. Get the crossplay so we can crossplay.
Yeah, like, seriously. Come on.
And then you'll have. Then you can
Don't-
switch to PC and you have all your stuff too. I actually wonder if the crossplay where they send all your stuff to crossplay, even without PlayStation being on the bus, would I still be able to switch to PC per se and have all my stuff?
Because if I ever end up getting a
not
new
sure.
computer, which I doubt because I am broke, I would totally switch to PC because I'm way better on PC. Oh my god, I remember the days during summer. I'd be downstairs playing by myself. I could only play Arena because I was like under level. I didn't feel like playing Conquest by myself. Also because my computer wouldn't work. I would just play Arena and basically murder a bunch of newbies. And I did not really feel that bad.
Well, you know, folks, I hate to do this because Beagle's talking so much, but it's time to go. So you can find good old Dirtnap's
Please
dad
let's
here on the Twitter and on the PS4 at dirt_naps_dad. You can email us if you're, shy and don't want to talk up in the Discord, but still want to have questions or things you want to provide to the podcast. You can email us at community@splitpushpodcast.com. You can listen to us repeatedly, hitting those favorites, hearts, subscribes, follows, bells, whistles, whatever your preferred platform of listening to us. Sure, that's what I'm going with. Yeah. But anyway, tell that platform you like us. It helps us out, and that's good for us all. So, hey, when it comes to dirt naps, you got to give them before you take them. And when all else fails,
Split
push, baby. We's out.